Welcome to the Amy Edwards Show. We're going to make this life so good because some of our best days haven't even happened yet. So let's get to it.
It's the most studied food in the world. There's 100,000 studies documenting the health benefits of algae. It is a food, not a supplement. It's harvested in Asia and has been for 60 years, where it's a multi-billion-dollar agricultural crop. It's bigger than the beef. It's as big as the beef industry is here, just to give you an idea.
Wow.
It's been endorsed by the United Nations and NASA as the most nutrient-dense food in the world. NASA says 1 gram of algae has the same nutrition as 1,000 grams of fruits or vegetables. People think of algae as those pond scum stuff. And it's the most nutrient-dense food in the world, ever.
Yeah.
Full stop. Mic drop.
Welcome to the Amy Edwards Show. We're here to up-level our lives in every way at every age. So let's get to it.
Every age, that's the key.
In it. It so is. It so is. I'm so excited today to welcome you, Catharine. Today we're welcoming Catharine Arnston. Dr. Catharine is a PhD, a real underachiever. She's a PhD and an MBA and the founder and CEO of ENERGYbits, which is a pioneering company leading the algae nutrition movement worldwide. She's a researcher, an educator, a wellness entrepreneur who spent more than a decade, 15 years really, studying and sharing the powerful science behind algae, spirulina and chlorella, and these are the world's most nutrient-dense, sustainable food source. So we're going to talk a lot about the fact that it's a food source. It began as a mission to help her sister through cancer, and it became a personal calling that's transformed lives and shaped the conversation around longevity, energy, and cellular health. She's been featured in so many places, too many to list, and it has about, I believe, 3 different documentaries that she's featured in just this fall alone, which is magnificent. So I'm going to put links to those in the show notes also. But she's obviously become one of the world's most recognized voices in algae science and holistic wellness. And so I am super excited to welcome you today, Catharine. So thank you for taking time and being here today.
Well, Amy, thank you for that wonderful intro and for inviting me, because I do have words and knowledge to share, and I need to find people like yourself that will be open to sharing it with your community. So hopefully today everyone will be uplifted, feeling energized about what algae can and will do for you, and get to know a little bit more about me.
Yes, it's been so fascinating to learn it because y'all sent me a absolutely stunning box, by the way. Like, your taste level is A+++. But it's just, I think one of the main things to me that started to cross my mind was the difference between this and a supplement. So that's where I want to get into your journey and how you even have developed into all of this. But, you know, you have a page in here that's like algae tablets versus green powders. And that's where my mind went first. And it's just, it seems like you have to break a barrier with people to get them to think of this as food rather than a supplement. And that was like immediately mine. So like, I guess, how do you really explain that when we're so supplement brainwashed, especially in our country?
Well, first of all, algae is its own food category because it's not technically a vegetable, or it's certainly not a human. And so and within algae, there's 2 main subcategories: macroalgae and microalgae. Just like you in fruits, you have citrus fruits and you have other fruits. So within macroalgae, that's the what's called the stringy stuff that washes up on shore, seaweed, dulse kelp, and it's good for you because it's high in fiber, high in iodine because it comes from the ocean, but it's virtually no nutrition. The other type of algae is microalgae, which is what we're going to talk about today. Spirulina and chlorella are 2 microalgae. They're completely opposite to macroalgae. First of all, it's not just in the sea. It's found in lakes, rivers, streams, soil, your aquarium, and it's harvested as a food crop in fresh water, which is what we do. And this is where you need to understand algae as food. we grow them in farms. So it's called hydroponic farming. Lettuce grows that way. Tomatoes, this is a chlorella farm. This is a spirulina farm. So it's so whether you buy algae tablets, and they're tiny little tablets, they're about the size of a baby aspirin. I'll show you a picture of them.
Yeah.
Whether you buy them from us or from Whole Foods in this tablet form, I can almost promise you they were harvested as a food crop in fresh water, not from the ocean. Yes, there is microalgae in the ocean, but that's not how spirulina and chlorella get to you. So just like you buy kale chips or which are, I'm not sure if they're grown in water, but they're a food. Nuts are a food. And so we want people to understand, while they do look like a supplement, they are not. We call them bits because they're bits of food. There's nothing else in them. The spirulina is 100% spirulina. We call ours ENERGYbits because it gives you energy, and we'll talk about that later on. And chlorella is a wellness algae, helps you recover from your day. So that's why we call ours recovery bits. But they're definitely bits of food and nothing else in there. We grow it in fresh water, air dry it without high heat to preserve the nutrients, and then we press them into these little tablets that we call bits. So they're bits of food. So the trouble is 99% of algae is harvested in Asia. China, Japan, Taiwan. So nobody here in America grows up driving by or walking by an algae farm like they do in Japan or Korea or Taiwan. We see soy and corn and wheat, but no algae farms. So it's a mystery to people. They either don't know it at all or they get misinformed about it. Now, supplements are made from extracts and mostly artificial synthetic ingredients, and they're combined in a factory. And same with powders, because that's how you started the conversation with different greens powders. A couple of problems with that. Synthetics and extracts don't exist in nature that way. So your body, we are from nature, your body doesn't know what to do with them. I tell my young millennials, it's like going to work with just your socks on. Where's your top? Where's your bottoms? Where's your shoes? So when you're taking supplements, you're only getting a very small portion of the nutrient that existed in vitamin C or vitamin A or vitamin whatever it is. So 90% of it is not absorbed. So it's very inefficient, number one, taking supplements. That's why the numbers on them are so high if you get a multivitamin. Number two, there are things that don't have to be listed on the ingredient label. So you could end up having all kinds of things that aren't good for you, that are toxic, that they included to bind the nutrients together. So that's not good for you. And with algae, because it's food and we don't use high heat, and which is the next step I want to talk about, it's pure, raw, unadulterated food. Nothing added, nothing subtracted. So the third part is probably the worst, and it's for both supplements and powders. They need to use high heat to mix them into the capsules, and the great greens powders, often they have 75 ingredients, so you can be sure there's not much of anything in there, but they have to mix it with high heat. And high heat deactivates critical enzymes, coenzymes, pigments. So you are not getting the full benefit of whatever that nutrient was. We are quite unusual in the algae community because we don't use high heat to dry our algae, which makes it work better. So you need less of it to get full efficacy. And we could talk more about that later on. So synthetics and supplements and greens powders, your body can absorb most of it. There's often ingredients in there that could be dangerous, and the high heat that is used to create them deactivates a lot of the nutrients. None of that happens with food, and none of that happens with our algae tablets that we sell here at ENERGYbits.
There's been like a big backlash, I feel like I've seen, against green powders and things like that, with people wising up to a lot of these drawbacks, right? Yeah. And it's just, but it's still like something in my mind is like, okay, this is food. Like I have to keep repeating them to myself that it's not a supplement. And I took 10 on an empty stomach this morning too, just to try it to see, did I get nauseous or anything? No, nothing. Not like I can't take supplements on an empty
Me neither.
stomach at all.
Fish oil, any kind of supplement, I can't take any of that on. And I don't take supplements anyways, but that's another conversation.
You don't take any supplements?
Nothing. All I take.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Whoa. How old are you? Can I ask?
I'm in my 70th year.
Are you kidding me? No, I never would have guessed that.
I know. So I want people to know.
I have chills. I have chills.
Yeah. I'm not 30, 40, or even 50. I mean, I in fact, on my birthday last month when I turned 69, and so I'm in my 70th year.
Yes.
I was on the Dave Asprey podcast. He was interviewing me on my birthday, and I said, "Look at," and he takes like about 100 supplements, and
yeah, he takes a shitload.
Not only is algae make your life easy, and it's food, and it was the first life on Earth 4 billion years ago. I can't take credit for algae. That's Mother Nature. I can't take credit for growing it so carefully, but Mother Nature put everything in there that we need. Factors, cofactors, enzymes, coenzymes, pigments, carotenoids, polyphenols, chlorophyll. You don't have to think about when you take your supplements, oh, should I take this with this? Should I take it away from food for better absorption or with food? You don't have to think it all with algae. It's already done for you. Nothing. And so it's loaded with 40 vitamins and minerals. I get my magnesium, potassium, all my electrolytes. It has the highest protein in the world, 3 times more than steak. I mean, I pretty much eat. I do intermittent fasting pretty much all day, and then I eat a proper meal. And I eat mostly whole foods. But I don't know how I would live without spirulina and chlorella. And it has a couple of nutrients in there that are proven in science. 100,000 studies prove all these health benefits of algae, the nutrients found in algae. I could not have lived this long and this well, because it's not just about living long, it's about living well. Without the nutrients found in algae, and your body stops making some of them after the age of 40, 45. And there's some of these nutrients aren't found anywhere else in the universe. So algae is your go-to. I tell people aging is natural, declining is not, but somehow we have assumed aging equals declining. And the society for women in particular puts an expiry date on our forehead. It's like after 50, like it's game over. You might as well put your comfy shoes and slippers on or your pajamas and just give up. And I got my PhD when I was 68. So my brain apparently.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Well done.
There is no end to how you can live well as you age, but you have to know what to take and how to do it. And algae for me is a cornerstone foundational food for that reason. So yeah, I take nothing. I have no medications, nothing. I have no chronic diseases, nothing. I sleep well, I poop well. This is my own skin. I don't do Botox. This is my own hair. There's no extensions. My own teeth. So no caps.
Yeah, your hair. I mean, like you look so good. How many years have you personally been doing this? Like a decade?
15. Well, I started the company 2010. Right. And so almost 16 years, I have not gone a single day without taking spirulina and chlorella algae. Not a single day.
And what do you see difference-wise just personally in yourself from 16 years ago?
Yeah, well, I used to be hypoglycemic, which your blood sugar goes all over the place. Not hypoglycemic anymore. I have my mental acuity has maintained its level that I had when I was in my 30s and did my MBA. Nothing, zero, no brain fog, nothing. And I'll explain why later on. My energy level is off the charts. I mean, I fly constantly. I run a company. I have 20 employees. I do all the science. I write all the papers. I present all over the country. I've worked. I now only work 6 days a week. I used to work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. But I do live a healthy life with yoga and walking and sleeping. But the algae has maintained my mental acuity, my energy level, my skin. My skin is crazy for my age. And I have 2 sisters, and they're healthy, but they look their age. Also, most people my age have difficulty sleeping. I sleep like a baby. I have no digestive. I used to have very bad digestion, and I cut out lots of different things like seed oils. But algae has really helped get my gut back, and I have regular bowel movements. I know people my age, we like to talk about bowel movements because
Yeah.
you got to get rid of what I call the junk in your trunk because it's stuff that your body didn't want. And we'll talk about one of the algae, it's chlorella, stimulates bowel movements, and it's very, very important to your health. So, it keeps the toxins out of my system. The average adult in America has 700 toxins in their bodies because of everything from air pollution, things in your cosmetics, your food. I travel a lot, so I get a lot of EMFs. And the two algae, particular chlorella, pulls out all heavy metals, glyphosate, pesticides, toxins. It's pretty crazy. So,
Yeah.
it's nice.
I'm glad you mentioned the toxin part. I know a lot of people that do a lot of these heavy metal detoxes and things like that. So I've read mixed things and I haven't done it myself, but I found that really interesting when I was reading all your literature about everything. So
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up because you said that it binds to the heavy metal toxins.
Anything that shouldn't be in your body, glyphosate, pesticide, alcohol. By the way, alcohol, as you get older, you have a very hard time processing alcohol, and you will have a hangover. You will never have a hangover if you take chlorella algae after, you do need like 20 or 30 tablets. We'll talk about that later on.
Okay.
Never have a hangover, ever. You're sober in an hour and a half. So, and athletes use it to pull out lactic acid. So they take the spirulina as a pre-workout and the chlorella as a post-workout to pull out. Spirulina is spirulina is a blue-green algae, and chlorella is a green algae. So I designed all the packaging. So I did it in colors to help people understand what the different algae were.
Yeah, it's really well done. And it's very clear, like it's easy to understand. I have some sitting right here. I took this one before my workout today, like I said,
Yes.
but then, and then I considered taking one for recovery afterward, but I decided to just wait till tonight or something like that. But I'm sold. How fast? I'm in. How fast does someone feel results, do you think?
Well, the spirulina, and maybe we'll get into some of the benefits because it affects when you take it and why you take it.
Okay.
Spirulina, which is the blue-green algae, it has
This one?
it's the first life on Earth, so there's pictures of water on there. Anyways, it's known as an energizing algae, which is why we call it ENERGYbits. Now, the energy you get is from a couple of things. It has the highest protein in the world, and all the protein is already in amino acid form. Normally, when you eat animal protein, your body has to break it down into aminos before it can be absorbed. But with algae, in both of them, the protein's already in amino acids, so no work for your body to break down. It has 18 of the 20 aminos, including the 9 your body can't make. So it's what's called a complete protein. Then it has all the B vitamins. B vitamins convert things like protein into energy. That's why a lot of the energy drinks are loaded with B vitamins. So you get the energy from that, but the more important source of energy is at the cellular level. There's these things called mitochondria. They're in all of your cells. And if you aren't familiar with mitochondria, think of them as the equivalent of lights in a building. You can't do any work in your office if you don't have any lights. But if there's a power outage or your light bulbs go out, you can't do any work. Well, your mitochondria in your body are like the lights, but they're also the electricity. So they allow your body to do everything that it needs to do. So it's not just energy to run to the grocery store or have a great workout. It's your lymphatic system, your neurotransmitters, your digestion. Everything requires cellular energy. And the trouble is the place where this cellular energy is made inside the mitochondria, it's called ATP. That's what the cellular energy is. But a byproduct of this cellular energy is called free radicals. And free radicals damage the mitochondria unless they have an antioxidant called, it's a long one, superoxide dismutase, to protect And you normally have this protection from the moment you're born until about the age of 40. And then your body slows down the production of this particular antioxidant until 45-ish. And then you have none. And this is why your mitochondria start getting damaged, because the protection they had previously is gone. It's like being stuck in a rainstorm. If you have an umbrella and you pop up your umbrella, you haven't stopped the rain, but you stop getting wet. With the way that the energy is created, free radicals are a natural byproduct. But this antioxidant called superoxide dismutase is like an umbrella. It stops the free radicals from damaging the mitochondria because it converts it into water and oxygen. So you're protected all of your life until 40. And then somebody rips your umbrella away because your body isn't making it anymore. So when your mitochondria get damaged, guess what? There's less of them, and the ones that are still there aren't working very well. So you get less and less cellular energy, which means your brain doesn't work as well. Your digestion doesn't work as well. Your hormones don't work. Nothing works as well. You get fatigued. Nothing works. So this particular antioxidant is in the spirulina in the highest form in the world. The second highest is in chlorella. But I want to focus on spirulina because you were asking me how long does it take for you to notice. Well, about 20 minutes when you take spirulina. You need at least 10 to feel anything. 20 or 30 is better. But it gets absorbed so quickly, and it generates energy from the B vitamins and the protein, and speeding up the creation of this mitochondria ATP, which is cellular energy. So it doesn't take long. And the reason why one of the reasons that it's so fast is spirulina isn't even a plant. It's a bacteria. So there is no cellulose wall for your body to break down to get access to all the B vitamins, the protein, and this particular antioxidant. They all get absorbed instantly if you chew it, like I do, and within about 10, 15 minutes if you swallow it. Now, I do want to caution people, the kind of energy you get is not like from a stimulant. It's not like sugar or caffeine or chemicals where you get a spike and then a crash. With algae, especially spirulina, well, it's the only one that does give you energy. It's when you take a stimulant, it's like putting paper on the fire. You get a burst and a crash. Algae is like putting a log on the fire. So it's very quiet, steady energy. So if you took 10 or 15 spirulina tablets, the ENERGYbits, and then you sat on the sofa and watched Netflix, you wouldn't really feel much, except you wouldn't be hungry anymore. You might be a bit more focused, but you wouldn't feel a lot because the ATP, which is the energy, is being directed to whatever you're doing in the moment. Now, if you went and did a workout right after taking your 15 or 20, you would have more energy for your run, for your workout, and you wouldn't even notice it. It's very, very subtle. It's very quiet energy. So it doesn't take long, and it's very subtle because it works within your body. Algae is natural. Algae, in fact, spirulina was the is what's called a cyanobacteria, which is documented as the first life on Earth ever. Not just the first plant, the first life. Almost 4 billion years ago. And I say, well, there's something spiritual about being the first life on Earth. So I call spirulina spiritualina now.
Good. I love that. Oh, real quick, you mentioned B vitamins. Does it have B12 or?
Yes. Yes,
Oh,
it has
nice.
B12. Yes.
Very
And
nice.
the trouble online is there's lots of information that's incorrect, and it claims that the B12 in spirulina is what they call an analog. It's a real B12. Remember, B12 is made by bacteria in your gut, right? Did you know that?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Yeah, it is. And of course, spirulina is a bacteria.
This is amazing. I want to know, okay, so your sister got breast cancer.
Yes.
And you started researching. And when was the point that you were like, this is a game changer for all of humanity and I have to make this my life's work?
Yeah. Well, it took a while because I'm Canadian. I've lived in the United States for 35 years. But when my sister got breast cancer, she was in Canada. And I mentioned that because the pharmaceutical industry is not quite as ingrained as it is here, but pretty bad. And her oncologist, which is a cancer specialist, was a woman. And women tend to be more open to nutritional interventions. And we're just so lucky that her oncologist told my sister as she was preparing for chemo, she needed to change her diet to an alkaline diet. Didn't tell her what it was or why it was particularly good for her. So my baby sister called me. I had a corporate career. I had nothing to do with nutrition, but I'm a good researcher. And I said, I have no idea what an alkaline diet is, but I will find out. And it was basically a plant-based diet because of the chlorophyll and the phytonutrients. So I just researched a lot of things for her, including algae, but it was just one of many things. And she did heal completely from her changed diet and from her chemo. So I can't claim that the algae, healed her because there were other factors.
Sure.
But then, this was 17, 18 years ago, and nobody was talking about plant-based nutrition. So I'm a very passionate person, and I thought, man, this stuff is so powerful. Somebody needs to tell the world about this plant-based nutrition stuff. So I had no background, so I enrolled myself in a place called the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, which was in New York. And I graduated 9 months later. And then I put a curriculum, this is what truly led me to algae. I put a curriculum together teaching people about the importance of plant-based nutrition. And I got so much pushback because everyone said, well, my mother's wanted me to eat more vegetables since I was a kid, but they're difficult to digest, or I throw most of them out, or my kids won't eat them, or my husbands won't eat them, and they take too much time to cook. 1,000 reasons why people were not eating vegetables. So I thought, I have to find something that will give them the nutrition of vegetables without any of the work, without any of the downside, without any of the bad taste, the stomach distress, blah, blah, blah. And I went back and looked at everything I'd found for my sister. Nothing was working, nothing was working, and then boom, I got to algae. Turns out, first of all, it's the most studied food in the world. There's 100,000 studies documenting the health benefits of algae. It is a food, not a supplement. It's harvested in Asia and has been for 60 years, where it's a multi-billion-dollar agricultural crop. It's bigger than the beef. It's as big as the beef industry is here, just to give you an idea.
Wow.
It's been endorsed by the United Nations and NASA as the most nutrient-dense food in the world. NASA says 1 gram of algae has the same nutrition as 1,000 grams of fruits or vegetables. And the best part of all was it comes in these little tablets. They're about the size of a baby aspirin. There's so much nutrition in every one of these tablets. One tablet has the same nutrition as an entire plate of vegetables. So that's about a pound of vegetables. And you could swallow them. If you swallow them, there's no flavor, nothing.
I'll have one too. I'm going to have one too.
No aftertaste. I like to chew them so they get into my body. So this is when I realized this was the game changer. This is the future of fast food. The spirulina is very chewy because of the high protein. The chlorella, which is the green one.
I kind of like it. It tastes good.
Very earthy.
I was scared to chew it.
Yeah. So when I saw the science was there, it's been used safely for 60 years in Asia, endorsed by international agencies, came in a very portable, accessible format, not powder, and that the quality of the tablets up until then had been very poor because they mostly came from China or India. So I had to find a very clean source. But I decided, because I didn't tell you, I had a previous career in the interior design industry, which is why I have a really good eye and I design everything.
No wonder everything's so beautiful. Yeah. Okay.
So
now I know.
I would use all my creative talents and do everything I could to bring a clean, safe source of algae tablets to America and to brand it and educate people about it in a way that was playful and fun, so they wouldn't be weirded out by it, because people think of algae as those pond scum stuff. And it's the most nutrient-dense food in the world, ever.
Yeah.
Full stop. Mic drop.
Yeah. And I mean, this part I marked in your Algae Love Story book that I'm showing, your little booklet, is that it's zero carbon footprint, because one of the reasons I try not to eat meat is because of what it's doing to the earth. And
I know
how bad it is.
Foresting large swaths of South Africa and South America to grow soy to feed the animals. That's more disheartening.
Wow. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
terrible. It's terrible.
So, you can really feel good about it. I mean, I just had to mark that page because that was a safer, sustainable, non-rancid source of omega-3 than fish oil and had zero negative carbon footprint, 200x more protein per acre and cattle.
Amazing, right?
Like
I
that.
tried for 15,
Yeah.
16 years to find something wrong with algae. And as long as it's there from a clean source like ours,
Yeah.
and the taste of spirulina isn't acquired, but you can swallow it if you don't like this. It's like an Einstein. It's like it helps with brain health. It helps with autism. It helps with on the spectrum, ADHD. It pulls out toxins. It builds your gut. It builds your skin. It gives you energy. You could live on it forever if you wanted to. You can give it to any age group: newborns, children, teenagers, grandparents, pets.
Yeah, I saw pets in there. I wanted to ask about that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there is the only thing wrong with spirulina and chlorella algae is that people just don't know about it, or they aren't getting it from a source that cares for it so carefully to preserve the nutrients. But we do really fun things. Like I have a great graphics team, so we've got these animated characters now. They look like the M&M characters, and I thought if M&M can sell crappy sugar to kids and get them, I can use my creativity. So we have all these really fun little characters. We were just at a.
They have your glasses on. They have your
She's
glasses
supposed
on.
to look like me. We call her the
She
algae.
does.
That's my moniker is the algae gal, and we just created some male characters to be her friend. And we call them the algae pal. So we have algae gal and algae pal. But we were just at a corporate wellness event and we created this thing. Isn't this cute? The algae girl
It's so cute.
gal reading the algae science booklet. It's too funny. Here's another one. By the way, I take a lot of pride in the fact that our main character is female, and she's the leading role in everything. And most people assume corporate people are male, and they are in many cases, but I'm here to trumpet the capability of women, not to deny men's time at the table, but they've been at the table forever. And
seriously, I'm here to toot women's horns all day long. So I will do it too. Yeah, 100%. And I love lifting up women-owned businesses, especially when you're so conscious and intentional, because that is really what I want to be. I want to be aligned. I want to walk the walk, and I want to lift people up that are,
absolutely,
of course, anybody doing anything good, but I'm partial to women.
Yeah.
So, speaking of women, so I've been on my own supplement journey, right? Doing my blood work and all this kind of stuff. And I don't know, my hormones are all over the place. I'm 53, whatever. I'm still not to menopause, but recently my face was breaking out and I was like, what the hell is going on? So I cut out all my supplements. I was like, I'm not doing anything. I have my thyroid medicine, that's it. And I just backed out of everything for a while. And I'm still in that phase. And I'm wondering what effect this has on hormones that you've noticed, or for you personally, or studies that you've read. And I'm thinking of giving this a go personally, just like exclusive, nothing else.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Yeah.
more too. So everything in your body requires cellular energy, even your hormones, everything. And there's I'm not an expert on thyroid, but there's T3 and T4, and T4 is made from T3. But if your thyroid isn't producing enough T3, you're not going to get the T4. And mitochondrial health is everything. It's your brain, by the way, has the most mitochondria per cell. There's 2 million per cell. Then your women's eggs have the next highest. That's 700,000 per cell. Your heart is next to about 8,000 per cell. Muscles are about 5,000. But the point is, your mitochondria are where the rubber hits the road. Doesn't matter what issue is going on with you, whether it's metabolic health issues, thyroid issues. When your mitochondria are performing optimally, everything works better. So, and it's very affected by stress, by sleep, by environmental toxins, by nutrition, and so spirulina, as I talked about it, very much on it as being energetic, but as source of energy, but it's very much your source for putting nutrition in. But in order for the nutrition to get absorbed in, you need to be sure that you get rid of the toxins that may be sitting on what's called the receptor cells of those cells that may be preventing the nutrition from getting in. Think of toxins as like someone who stole your parking spot. You get good money to have a parking spot, but if someone's in there, you can't get in there, so you have to call a tow truck and they pull them out. So
I love your analogies.
chlorella is the tow truck. It's going to pull that toxin out of the cell receptor. So now the nutrition can get in. This is why you need both of them. One puts the nutrition in, the chlorella pulls the toxins out. And that way they're much more efficient. So we don't know what exactly is causing the thyroid issue for you. You're in that changeover of life when your estrogen levels are dropping, which is a natural part of aging.
Yeah.
But estrogen also, people don't know, acts as an antioxidant to protect the mitochondria. So just as your body is decreasing, because you start losing this particular antioxidant called superoxide dismutase, right at the same time your estrogen levels drop. So now women are losing twice as much protection of their mitochondria at the same time as men do. So that's why women suffer from more health issues, more brain fog issues, more dementia, not schizophrenia, but Alzheimer's is predominantly experienced by women. And a large part of that is because our brains are being attacked more because of this lack of the superoxide dismutase and our drop in estrogen. So I would really engage or encourage you to take a protocol. So this little chart we made, because people kept saying, well, how many do I take? So we created this chart. 10 is kind of like your starter nourishing amount a day. So it's 10 spirulina, 10 chlorella. 20 would give you a better experience, but for what we call therapeutic amounts to optimize, especially if you want to improve something, 30 tablets a day is what we would recommend. So 30. Now the spirulina, you can take all 30 at once if you want, or you can have 10 in the morning, 10 at lunch, 10 in the afternoon. Everybody seems to feel like a drop in energy around 2 or 3 o'clock. So that would be a perfect time to have some more spirulina. If you were on a GLP-1 or a weight loss program, you could have 30 for lunch. 30 calories, 1 calorie per tablet. Get fully nourished with all your omegas, your protein, 40 vitamins and minerals. It cuts cravings, it cuts hunger. And you don't, you'll get all of your antioxidants, you'll get all of your electrolytes effortlessly. And all you do is swallow them or add them to a smoothie, or I put them in a trail mix. I eat them with sea salts or pistachio nuts. So if you're looking to cleanse your thyroid, I would recommend 30 spirulina a day for you, generally in the morning or afternoon. And we generally recommend chlorella before bed, because when you are sleeping, that's when your body goes through a detox repair cycle. So chlorella, by the way, has the highest tryptophan in the world, which helps you get into sleep because it's a precursor to melatonin. It has something called chlorella growth factor that speeds up the growth of your own cells. It pulls out all the toxins. So while you're getting your beauty rest, it's pulling out metals from your brain, toxins from your cells. It stimulates peristalsis, which is a bowel movement, because you get rid of toxins through sweat, breath, urine, and bowel movements. So it really helps with the bowel movements for sure. So we wanted you to get rid of the junk in your trunk, as I say, because that really helps. So generally people take the chlorella before bed. You could take it before any time of day, but definitely before bed. So
cool.
I would encourage you to try that protocol. You might quickly become like me. It saves you time. It saves you money. You don't have to worry about anything. It's all there. It's all it's food.
It's food. It's food. That's the part that's the biggest trip. And I think, because it's food, it's not something that your body gets used to. I feel like sometimes, things can lose their efficacy
Yeah.
over time.
No,
And it doesn't seem to with you.
no, no, no. And you don't need more to get more. I mean, you can take more. We fuel
Uh-huh.
NHL teams. Our NHL players, they put 75 spirulina in their smoothie before a game because, of course, they want lots of energy on the ice, lots of focus. It's very fast. And then after the game, they take 75 chlorella in their smoothie to pull out all the lactic acid, help build the immune system so they're not sick. So there's no upper limit, to it. It's unbelievable the nourishment that you get from it. But you could start with 10. 10 is like it will fill the nutritional gaps, but for correcting any kind of health condition, or if you want to really truly prevent one, that's generally what we would suggest.
Awesome. Well, I want to cover also, you mentioned brain fog a few times. I want to cover that and talk about inflammation. So can you speak to each of those, please?
Yeah. So, the brain fog, there's a great book, by the way, I'd recommend to people. You can get it on Amazon. It's called Brain Energy, and the author is Dr. Chris Palmer, and he's a psychiatrist, and he's also a professor at Harvard Medical School. And in the book, he talks about how every brain issue, doesn't matter whether it's depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, autism, everything ultimately comes down to damaged mitochondria. And the damage is occurring because of that same process that I discussed earlier, where the mitochondria, there's lots of causes for damaged mitochondria. Toxins are one for sure. They're affected by the environment. So the toxicity, your emotions could be too stressful. So anything that causes more free radicals, your dietary choices, processed carbs create more free radicals. So pastries, breads, if you would just eliminate those alone, you'll be helping your mitochondria. But internally, as you get older, once you cross that threshold of 40, your body stops making this very protective antioxidant that neutralizes the free radicals, and it never comes back. So it's like your maintenance people at your office went on strike and they never came back. They're never going to change that light bulb again for you. They're never going to get your power source back on. That's what happens when you lose this superoxide dismutase. It's like your maintenance people went on strike, and you can't get it from any supplement or any food except spirulina and chlorella. So that's why we can help turn the lights back on in your brain or anywhere once you start taking spirulina. Also, your brain is mostly fat, and so it's very susceptible, just like fish oil going rancid. Your brain is very susceptible to oxidation, which is inflammation. And spirulina also has very high amounts of essential fatty acids, including omega-3. So it helps heal the brain because the brain needs healthy fats. There's also a pigment in spirulina. Spirulina is called a blue-green algae because it has two pigments. The green one, which you're familiar with, is chlorophyll. And chlorella only has one pigment, which is called chlorophyll. In fact, that's why it's called chlorella, because of the chlorophyll. But spirulina has a second pigment, and it's a blue pigment, and it's called phycocyanin, and it's spelled with a PHY, PHYCOCANIN. That blue pigment protects your telomeres from being damaged. Now, the telomeres are these ends that protect your DNA. Somebody read once, they compared it to shoelaces. You know, in your shoelaces, you have that little plastic thing on the end so that your shoelace won't unravel. Well, the telomeres are kind of like that. Instead of having the shoelace, what's in the middle is your DNA. So you want the telomeres, they're the little, like the plastic ends to protect your DNA. But every time your cell subdivides, which goes on over and over and over again every single nanosecond, each time it subdivides, those little shoe plastic pieces get shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. And if they get so short that they basically don't exist anymore, then your DNA gets exposed to damage. And this can cause chronic disease. This can cause aging. This can cause just about anything. So the fact that this blue pigment, phycocyanin, protects your telomeres. It's like having an extra layer of that plastic end on your shoelaces. So you never get that damage to the DNA in your brain or anywhere else. So that's pretty important as well.
Very important. And thank you again for that analogy. That your analogies are so easy to understand. I really appreciate those. I think it helps us totally grasp,
Yes.
all of this for sure. So
Just about inflammation.
I did. I
Yeah.
did.
So they call inflammation the silent killer because it goes
I
on.
mean, yes, it all comes down to that, it seems like. I mean, it's just constantly, oh, it's inflammation.
Yeah. And the inflammation is occurring in the mitochondria, and
Oh,
it's being caused by these free radicals that are being released during this process of cellular energy production. And so you need these antioxidants like the one found in spirulina to neutralize the free radicals. And if it's not able to do that, then it causes this inflammation, which, and here's what happens. So your mitochondria are these little peanut shaped things. I've got a little picture, one I'll show you. So
oh,
this is inside the cell this is your mitochondria. And this
okay.
is where the ATP is produced. This is where your mitochondria have their DNA, and the byproduct are free radicals. Now, the way that the free radicals and actually the actual cellular energy is created is something called the electron transport chain. And I'll give you an analogy on how that works. We've all seen a relay race where you have a runner with a baton, and they pass the baton to the next runner, and then that runner runs a distance and tries to pass the baton to the next runner, and hopefully they win the race. The way that the actual energy, this ATP, is created is very similar, except instead of a runner, you have these protein molecules, and instead of passing a baton, they pass electrons. And there's 4 of them. The idea is they pass the electrons from one runner to the next, and the final outcome is energy, this stuff called ATP. Now, for that to work well, your mitochondria has to be healthy so that the runners are close to one another so they can make the pass. The trouble is when you have inflammation, it causes the mitochondria to expand. And when they expand, 2 things happen. The runners are farther and farther apart from one another, so they can't make the pass. So they can't make energy because they can't pass the electron. So first of all, when you have inflammation, your body has less cellular energy being created, so nothing works very well. Number 2, when they can't pass that electron, they drop it. And it doesn't disappear. It turns into free radicals. So as you have more inflammation, your mitochondria expand even more and even more, which causes you to have less and less energy, which causes you to have more and more free radicals because more of them get dropped because they can't make the pass, which causes more inflammation, which causes them to expand. So you see why there's a downward spiral in aging, and it goes on for years before you even have symptoms, very often 10 years. So you may be 30 if you're listening. It's never too early to start looking after your mitochondria. They're there. And so they need to be cared for. And I promise you, when you care for your mitochondria, they will care for you back. And as an almost 70-year-old person who has natural health and skin and sleep and energy and focus, I can tell you it works. It just does. And I can't attribute it to anything else because that's the only thing I do differently from my 2 sisters who are healthy but aging appropriate as we would expect them to.
Why in the world are they not doing it? Don't they look at you and go like,
I know. But it happens. I'll tell you, families are the last ones to believe you. You can have 5 PhDs. It doesn't matter. You can ask anybody. Well, I told my father, blah, blah, blah. And he can get the same information from his doctor and he will pay attention. But if he gets it from his daughter, nope, not a chance.
wow.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
I lost my father to leukemia. I
I'm
tried to get
sorry.
him to take my algae, and he said to me, well, does the FDA approve it? And I said, well, Dad, do you take a multivitamin? And he says, oh, yeah. I said, well, guess what? The FDA doesn't approve that either. The FDA doesn't approve any supplements. They just set guidelines for packaging. So I couldn't help him, and he did pass, and broke my heart. But
Ugh, I'm sorry.
it's
How
just
frustrating. That must just be so like, ugh,
I know.
yeah,
So that, but
man.
it inspires me even more that I can get the message out to other people so that
Yeah.
they can enjoy the benefits of it. And you don't, like I said earlier, you don't have to last long or take long to see and feel anything from this. And I would just welcome people to do some research because the time for algae is now. It has been here for 4 billion years. It's been taken daily for 60, 70 years in Asia. Why should they be the only ones benefiting from this? By the way, the Japanese are known for the best longevity, lowest cancer rates, lowest obesity rates, great skin and hair. They don't leave their house without taking chlorella algae every day.
Re-
Yeah, that's where the industry
really?
was in Japan. Yeah, yeah. They don't take
I mean,
Japan.
like the first, before I opened the box and stuff, I was kind of reading about it and I was like, well, algae makes sense, seaweed and, Japanese restaurants and stuff, but that's the macro
Algae.
version and that's not where it's coming from. And so they are taking this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Every day and half for 60, 70 years. Yeah. That's where the whole industry started was in Japan. Yeah.
Wow.
In the 50s, these 50s and 60s. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a very well kept secret, and it's time for the secret to get out. There are homeopaths and naturopaths and Olympic trainers, little pockets of professionals who know about this. You probably will be stunned to know the equine industry, that's people in the horse industry, they have been feeding their horses spirulina and chlorella algae for probably 50 years, certainly 40, probably 50. Yeah,
Wow.
because it gives the horses the same thing, improves their energy, improves their performance, improves their focus. It's unbelievable. So there's areas that, but it hasn't been communicated to the majority of the consumers here in North America, and nobody. I am committed to education. I've recorded over 200 teaching videos. They're only like a minute or two. I'm going to record another 100 in a couple of weeks, explaining algae for brain health, algae for children's nutrition, algae for gut health, cancer, heart disease, to help people understand it. We do packaging and branding. We make it playful. Come and visit us on our Instagram, ENERGYbits, at ENERGYbits, and you'll see we're trying just to make this so easy for people because we need something. We're in a crisis, a health crisis, nutrition crisis, environmental crisis, and algae literally has the answer for all of those if you get it from a good source.
Truly, truly. You're so passionate and it's so inspiring. And I wonder, when I hear that your own family was resistant or is resistant, I mean, have you had some moments where you were like frustrated, felt like quitting or anything? Like, how have you gotten through those and what has the journey been like
Well,
for you?
it's funny because my niece recently had a baby. Well, he's now a year and a half, but he's constantly having colds. And when he gets a cold, then his mother, my niece gets a cold, and then my sister, who's grandmother, she gets it. Everybody's constantly, because this kid is so adorable. His name is Cosmo. He's
Oh, I love it.
yeah, like the world. He's so I said, listen, just give him some of these bits, and he loves them. He chews them up. He's not getting sick anymore. So now my sister, her daughter, my niece, now they're interested because this unbiased child who doesn't really know me, but he loves these little, he calls them his greenies, greenies and grannies. It's working for him, and so it's an unbiased evidence that something is clearly working because they've tried everything. They tried all the different antibiotics. They tried all sorts of nothing kept this child healthy except these tablets. So I'm about to ship them all a bunch more today. So things like that where some they hear or another time my sister was visiting. She lives in Palm Springs in the wintertime. She went to a beautiful spa and our products were on the shelf. And she texted me, "Oh my God, Look what I saw. You're in this fancy whatever. And it's like, yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah, we're in lots of those. But so it's I love my family. You can't force them to believe you. They'll come to their own conclusions, and that's the thing with algae. I am the perfect voice for algae because algae. There's no drama with algae. It's like, in your body you have your ego and your soul, and your soul, no drama with your soul. It will always whisper to you. Your ego makes you fearful and loud and pushy. Algae is like your soul. It doesn't it only wants the best for you, and it will do it naturally with a lot of care, very gradually, non-threatening, and that's the way I am. Like, we're not a hard sell company. We just educate. We're here for you. Um, it's all about no drama because this stuff works. It's a gift to us from nature, earth, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it. It's Spirulina, right? The first life on earth.
Spiritually.
And it just needed someone to care for it. I consider my brands like my children, and I don't have children, but if you have children, you care for your children. You look out for them, and so I've been trying to look out for algae so it can do the best work it can in the world, and help people. So we do it very gradually through. We're just here. We educate people. We try to make it fun. We make sure that it's clean. We do third-party lab tests here in the United States. It's been here for 4 billion years. I won't last 4 billion, but I'll be able to do this for another 10, I think, 10 or 15.
Fun in the algae. Music for everybody in the algae. Duh. Your cells are going to turn to algae, and it's going to fortify the world. 100%. So, yeah, this is absolutely fascinating. I'm going to try my own personal experiment. I love experimenting with things and then talking about them, and I'm going to do it, Catherine. I mean, you are walking the walk, and how can you not notice that, right? I mean, it's very inspiring to see you and hear from you, and just the way your brain is functioning is notable. I mean, getting your PhD at 68 years old is really moving and exciting, and aging doesn't have to be. That's what my show's about. It's about aging not being what it used to be, and how can we change and grow and really be our best selves at every age.
Yeah.
So what did we miss talking about algae as we're wrapping up today? Like, is there anything on your heart that you want to reiterate before we go today?
Well, just a couple of things. I think a lot of what's going on in the world is very scary, and we're learning about all these things that we put a lot of trust in, like our food supply and pharmaceuticals. And so people are in a panic stage, or they're going to extremes, like taking 100 supplements. And the reason I like algae is that it's effortless, it's uncomplicated, it's science-based. If you have but you need a high quality tablet. So I want to assure people, as long as you can do some basics, get back to nature, basically. Do the things that have been provided to us by nature. Algae is one of them. It's a foundational food. But then other things are, get good sleep, get some sunshine, get fresh air, move, love. So community connection.
Yes.
So
yes.
My message is living well and living long does not need to be complicated. You don't need fancy devices. You can if you want, but you don't need them. But just unwind and get back to the basics. So that would be the first thing. And I consider algae part of the basics because it was the first life on Earth. The other thing is that algae isn't new. It's just new to you. And think about it. You didn't know about chia or kiwa or matcha or bone broth until maybe 10 or 15, or collagen powder 10 or 15 years ago. And these things have been used for centuries in other countries. But until they were explained here in America, you didn't really know about them. So I'm just the voice of algae. It's been used for centuries. The Aztecs used it. The Egyptians used it. And most recently, the Asians have been using it. So give it a try. You've got nothing to lose. That's the other thing. Nothing to lose. If you decide you don't like it, throw it on the floor and give it to your pets or your the chipmunks that are outside or something.
Yeah.
So it can make life much easier and much better, and it's effortless, and it's been waiting a long time to be noticed. So just give it a try.
This is so fascinating. I cannot thank you enough. And I'm so excited because you guys set us up with a discount code. If anybody wants to order, it's 20% off with just my name, Amy Edwards,
Yes.
AMYEDWARDS. That link will be in the show notes too. And Catherine, you are just a joy,
Oh,
an
thank you.
absolute joy, and very inspiring. And just that, you're talking about finding your purpose with this 15, 16 years ago. I mean,
Yeah.
you were my age, you were in your 50s.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like you just never know,
You
right? What
never
would you
know.
say to somebody who's getting older and doesn't know their purpose? What would you say to someone?
I would say extract yourself from all the media, all the expectations of society, and just listen to the quiet voice inside, and you will be directed. You won't be given the full story, but you'll be given some direction, and then it's up to you to take the next step. And after the next step, you will be given more direction. So it's all about being quiet and listening to yourself and trusting yourself because you are the universe.
That very well said. Very beautiful. And just, I mean, did you ever expect your life to be like this when you turned 50 even? Were you like,
Never.
are you so surprised
Yeah,
to a degree?
I pinch myself every day. So
Ah,
I'm very proud of what we do, and I do invite people to come to the website ENERGYbits.com, which is
yeah.
your discount code, Amy Edwards, and just read the blogs. So yeah, it's great. I'm very lucky, very very. I thought I was helping my sister, and I think ultimately she helped me. So it's fun how it works out.
It is funny how it works out. Things like that. That's how life goes, right? We give and then we end up getting something we never expected. So it's really, really beautiful. Everything is in the show notes. Of course, they can follow you at energybits.com, at energybits on Instagram. And it was just a joy. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Amy.
Oh my God, y'all. I ate one. I like it. It tastes good. And just as we were signing off, she was like telling me she eats it with sea salt or like some pistachios or something like that. Can you tell I put on a blazer today because I wanted to be like a boss babe? I was like, I'm talking to a high-powered CEO, so I better put on my blazer and get in character. So, anyway, though, that was so fascinating. I really have cut out all my supplements. I felt like I was, I don't know, just kind of all over the place. And we're talking about it on my new show with Whitney Straup. It's called Anything But Mid, because you're in midlife, but you're anything but mid. And so it's a comedy wellness. And it just kind of goes with this show in that we're talking about how it is for us in real life as women in our 50s, or, how it's been with aging, hormones, blah, blah, blah. And we're deep diving into different topics, but we're going to do one on algae. And I'm going to do it not only after this comes out, but after I do my 3-month experiment. And then I'm really going to speak to it. So I'm really excited. So, anyway, what else do we need to cover? She's a badass. If you're just listening, look her up. I cannot believe that she is 69 in her 70th year. I am blown away. And like, proof is in the pudding, right? Like, if my sister was doing that, I cannot for a moment imagine that I wouldn't be like, I'm on board. Let me in. What's the secret? So anyway, she was amazing. So this wasn't about selling energy bits either, by the way. I mean, it's really just about learning. That's what I'm all about. It just so happens that she has a product. So anyway, I love you so much. I'm glad you were here, and I'm so excited to see what develops with this. Please follow the show. Follow us on YouTube. Check out the new show, Anything But Mid. I will put that in the show notes as well, so you can follow it. Hair, I blew it out today, and I didn't do a very good job, but I do have the best extensions on the planet from the collective ATX. I love them so much. Link in the show notes. Skyrock Sedona, if you're thinking of going and staying there, there's a nice discount for that Marriott property. Did you know it's pronounced Marriott, not Marriott? Yeah, it is. Trust me. Thanks to our producers, Podcast Magician. They are magicians waving their magic wand. Thank you to them. I love them so much. Connect with me anytime. Respond to my newsletter, amyedwards.info. Hit me up on Instagram, Real Amy Edwards, whatever you want to do. I'm around for it, and I want to hear your thoughts all the time. I love you so much. You just keep shining bright, you badass. Till next time. Thank you so much for being here. Please rate, review, and follow us. And we'd love to hear your feedback. Keep shining bright.